Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the weekly nightfall weapon. And it's just very funny the way this thing's lined up, because it is a bow. So we have two bows this week that people are probably going to go for. The one from Solstice and this one, the pre-Astyanax 4. Now this bow, it can be a pretty good one for both PvP, PVE. It's kind of a little of both. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at what makes this weapon special, what are the perks that it can get, and what are the god rolls we should be going for if you're going for a god roll this weapon. And afterwards, we're just going to have a mini review where I go over the things that I like or dislike about the bow and just stuff like that. But before we get into any of that, let's actually talk about where to get this bow. And you're going to be able to get this bow from this week's Nightfall and Grandmaster Nightfall, whichever you want to do. If you decide to go with the Nightfall route, the higher in difficulty you get, the more likely you are to get one of these to drop. Or if you decide to go with the Grandmaster, which I would definitely recommend this week. This week's Grandmaster is not bad at all. You'll get one guaranteed at the end, as long as you kill all the champions throughout the strike. So definitely head into the GM this week if you're looking for a bow. It's definitely going to be a good one. And like always, I'm going to have a GM video later today, so you guys can have an easy build that you can just apply. Now this bow this season actually got a perk refresh. So we do have a couple of new perks that before we didn't. Not all the perks got refreshed, but they definitely added some new ones. Now this bow is going to be a precision frame bow, which is amazing because the precision frame bows just feel good. Like they're the best feeling bows in my opinion, apart from like the recently added one. They just feel good. They feel good in PvP, they feel good in PvE. There's just something about the precision frames. This weapon also comes with 3 different origin traits. Stunning recovery for whenever you stun a champion, it will start your health regen. Banger vindication to heal a small amount whenever you get some final blows with the weapon. And lastly, my favorite, my beloved wild card. Whenever you get a kill with this weapon, you have a chance to create those sub munitions on the ground. Those are like those little Telesta bolts that drop whenever you killed something. I love wild card. It's like one of my favorite perks. So I'm really glad to see it on this weapon. Now, like I said a little earlier, I think the main reason that people are going to gravitate towards this bow is just how good it feels. And just the amazing perk that this thing actually has. We're actually going to be talking about a lot of these perks, just because it has so many good ones. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. First, we're going to talk a little bit about the string and the arrow. And then afterwards, we'll talk about the trade perks. But we're mostly going to spend time on the trade perks. So, let's get into it. Now starting off with the string, for PvE, we're going to be looking for the thing that's going to reduce our draw time the most. Which is going to be elastic string or the flexible string. This is going to let us fire the weapon faster. And while it's going to affect our accuracy, that won't really matter in something like PvE. Now for the crucible, where the accuracy will matter, I think you want to go with something like polymer string, which is going to increase your accuracy, but also decrease your draw time. So you get the two things that you're looking for. More accuracy and less draw time is just not as big of a decrease as maybe some of the other ones. Now for the arrow in PvE, it's not really going to matter. Now for the crucible, you want to increase your accuracy, so we want to go with fiberglass arrow shaft or also straight fletching. But they're both going to be pretty good, so if you get either of these, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. So that's where you want to go for your string and for your arrow. And now let's actually move on to the main part of the video, the meat and potatoes of the video, where we're going to spend most of our time. Let's take a look at some of those trade perks. So for the first perk, these are going to be our options. We have Archer's Temple, Shoot to Loot, Opening Shot, Attrition Orbs, To the Pain, and lastly, Corner. And the main ones that I want to take a look at for PvE are going to be Archer's Temple, Shoot to Loot, and Attrition Orbs. So let's start off with the one that I think is the best, which is going to be Archer's Temple. Whenever you hit a precision hit, it will decrease the draw time on the weapon by 25% for 3 seconds. And as you continue to hit precision hits, it's going to continue to refresh the timer. This is going to be amazing. It's just going to make it so you can fire the bow a lot faster. This is pretty much like a must-have for either PvP or PvE. This is going to be good for both. You can never go wrong with Archer's Temple. Now the next one, which is definitely a little bit more niche, is going to be Shoot to Loot. That's going to let you pick up orbs power and also ammo by shooting them. This is definitely going to be a lot more situational. You know, not everyone's going to want to actually use Shoot to Loot. So if you're somebody that loves Shoot to Loot, then you probably like Shoot to Loot on this one as well. Now the last one I'm going to take a look at is going to be Attrition Orbs. So whenever you deal sustained damage, is going to spawn some orbs of power. On the bow, I think it's 5 hits to actually spawn an orb, which is not too bad on some of the majors. But it's still not like the best perk. I would definitely say that Archer's Temple is definitely what you want to go for PVE. But you have a couple of different options that you can mess around with if you want to go with something else. Now for Crucible, there's 2 really good ones that you have here. You have either Opening Shot, which is not usually on this perk slot. You usually see Opening Shot on the second perk slot. Or you have Archer's Temple. They're both going to be really good. With Archer's Temple, after you hit that first shot, it'll make it easier to hit that follow-up shot. While for Opening Shot, is going to make it easier to hit that first shot. So if they were in different slots, they would be amazing together. But in this weapon, they're on the same slot, so you can't really combine them together. But both of their own are still going to be pretty fantastic perks. I really like the ease of use of Opening Shot, because it makes you hit some crazy bow hits that you might even question yourself how you even hit them. Now moving on to the second perk, this is where we're going to have a bunch of like really good perks. So this is what we have. We have Archer's Gambit, Explosive Head, Incandescent, Successful Warm-Up, Surrounded, and lastly Precision Instrument. So yeah, those are the options we have for the second perk, and you could pretty much make an argument for any of these. The second perk slot is definitely stacked. So that's actually exactly what we're going to do. We're actually going to talk about all the perks that we have on this slot. So first of all, let's start from the top with Archer's Gambit. It's basically the highest draw time decrease in the game. The thing about it is that you do have to be hit firing, so this is pretty much going to count out most of the people on controller and just pretty much leave it only to the PC players. And you are going to be able to pair up Archer's Gambit with Opening Shot to have an easier time hitting those hit fire precision hits. This perk definitely has some really high potential in both Crucible and PVE. The only thing is that you have to be good at hit firing the bow. If you're not good at hit firing the bow, do not bother with Archer's Gambit. It's not going to be worth it. Now next up, we're going to have Explosive Head, which is going to give us a bit of a damage increase in PVE. And the numbers come out to like a 15% increase on body shots and a 10% increase on crits. So it's pretty much just a free damage buff, and that's going to be pretty good for PvE. Now for the Crucible, this doesn't really apply, so it doesn't get any extra damage in Crucible. So this is mostly a PvE perk. Next up, we're going to have the GOAT Incandescent. This is going to give us a bit more ad clear for our bow, which is definitely pretty good. And this is going to work fantastic with a lot of solar builds. In the background, I'm sure you guys have been watching me use the Incandescent one with my solar build and making some ignitions. Incandescent is just a fantastic perk by itself with a solar build. It's just going to be a really good perk and add a bit of extra ad clear to a bow, which is fantastic since that's one of the few things that the bows can't struggle with. So Incandescent is just kind of perfect for it. Next up, we're going to have Success Warm-Up. After we get a kill, it decreases our draw speed by 37.5%, which is pretty good. I think Successful Warm-Up can be really good on like lower end content, but once the ads start getting tankier where it takes more than one hit to kill them, that's where Successful Warm-Up is not as good. Next up, we're going to have Surrounded, one of the highest damage buffs in the game. Whenever we're surrounded by at least 3 enemies, we get a 40% damage increase, which is, it's great. 40% damage increase is going to be pretty great. I know what you're thinking, there's a bow, so you should be playing farther back, but in PvE, you end up surrounding a lot of time, and if you are an aggressive bow user like I can be in PvE, then you could definitely make something like Surrounded work, and always have that 40% damage increase, basically guaranteeing that you one-shot any red bar really. It's going to be pretty amazing. Surrounded is going to be pretty good. And the last perk we have is going to be Precision Instrument. Dealing sustained damage increases precision damage. And we gotta be able to stack this thing up all the way to 25% increased damage. This is gonna be amazing, especially in some of the higher end content, since we don't require a kill or we don't require to be close to enemies. We can use setback and spam our bow and basically just get a free damage increase after a while. You definitely get the most of the Precision Instrument in some of the higher end activities like Grandmaster Nightfalls. That would be like the perfect place to bring out a Precision Instrument bow. At least when the bows come back to being some of the anti-champion weapons, since they don't have anything this season. But I could definitely see this bow being pretty good, especially with precision instrument plus archer's tempo, so you can build it up a little quicker. It's gonna be pretty nice. So those are the perks that you have on this second slot. They're all pretty good, so I could definitely think that you can use any of these and have a pretty good time with the bow. Just pretty much depending on what you're trying to do with the bow. But now let's move on and actually talk about some god rolls. And these are the god rolls that I think you should go for. Now we're definitely not gonna talk about all the good rolls here, since we just went literally over a whole row of perks for the second slot. But we're gonna talk about the ones that I like the most. So first of all, right here we're gonna have Archer's Temple plus Precision Instrument. I think this can be the go-to for pretty much anything. You can use this in any activity. This is gonna be basically your all-rounder. As long as you have this roll, you're gonna be doing pretty good. Another good one is gonna be Archer's Temple plus Incandescent. You get to fire faster, and every time you blow something up, it will affect things around it. You could also run Incandescent with Attrition Orbs to get a couple more orbs. You could also go Shoot to Loot plus Explosive Payload. You get the extra damage that's always on from Explosive Payload, as well as being able to proc Shoot to Loot a little easier thanks to the explosion. You could run Archer's Temple plus it says Warm Up if you wanna decrease your draw time by a crazy amount. There's basically gonna be a ton of different combinations that you can make with this bow, so make sure that you explore around them. But these are the ones that I recommend that you go for, and the ones that seem interesting to me. So let me know in the comments below what is the god roll you guys are going to be going for. Is this weapon even a weapon that you're going to go for this week, or are you not? Let me know that in the comments below. And now let's actually talk a little about this weapon. And I just gotta say, this is a fantastic feeling weapon. There's just something about the precision frames that makes these bows feel amazing to shoot. You just don't get the same feeling as the precision frames. They just feel so good. I have no idea why. Besides that, I definitely like this bow for PVE. I feel like it's got a lot of PVE options. For Crucible, I feel like it's a little bit more limited, but it definitely still has a couple of rolls that are good about it, and you can definitely make use of in the Crucible. But for me, this is definitely going to be just a really good PVE bow. I love Incandescent on this bow. It just kind of makes my brain go crazy with all that dopamine. It just kind of adds a little more to that satisfying feel of the bow. Every time you fire, seeing those big explosions, and if you have Archer's Temple, you start firing faster. It's just a really good feeling bow in PvE. There's just no other way to put it. It's got some really good perks, and it feels amazing. If you want to use a bow in PvE, then this is the bow that you want to use. And with that, we're going to end today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Appreciate you guys stopping by today. Let me know what you guys think of this weapon in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you going to be farming it this week? All that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate you guys always showing support to my videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone. Have a good rest of your day. And yes, the build video will be out later today. Peace.